I was in university in Singapore, and then I had a lot of free time in my second year in university, so I wanted to find something interesting to do. Then I went into theatre. So by chance, I was in an audition and I was brought into professional theatre companies while I was still in university, started theatre acting. So I was an actor for about 8 years from theatre. I went to London to read theatre, and then I moved to China. I lived in Beijing for 4 years just to be an actor. So I was an actor for film and TV in Beijing, in English productions and in Chinese productions as well. And from being an actor, I evolved into, I would say, that being a director. I started to make my own projects, moved to Macau after China, and directed my first feature film. When I was living in Beijing, I was searching for another place to go where I can initiate my own projects. And I thought Macau was the best place to go to because I was still very much an actor, even now, especially back then. And I didn't want to go too far from mainland China because that was where I was based before Macau, because I thought I would still have projects there, and I wanted to be also close to Hong Kong. So I was reluctant to go back to Singapore that quick. So in the end, Macau became like the obvious choice because it was cheaper than Hong Kong. I thought about Hong Kong as well, but Hong Kong was a lot more expensive than Macau. Now Macau's catching up though in terms of prices. Yeah. So decided it was going to be Macau, and also I thought like there were very few or maybe like nobody really knows filmmakers in Macau or films made in Macau. So I thought that was like an opportunity to kind of shoot in a so-called exotic location that maybe the film festival world or the international audience would like to look at. So Macau came first, and then when I went to Macau, the casino industry was really booming at the time. Like they were really building, like from 2004 to around 2008, it went from like 2 or 3 casinos to 30 something. Now it's like 50 casinos.
Oh wow.
So I decided to make that theme, but it wasn't all about gambling. It was more about like choices that people make. People from across the border in mainland China and people from the other side of the border in Macau, the Macau residents. It was about what casinos meant to people from both sides of the border. I love borders because I'm like traveling all the time. Like I'm very sensitive towards borders, and I just love like what things mean to people from like the visitors and the local people and people who stay there temporarily or people who were born and raised in the place. I just love this kind of thing. It was about returning home. So at that time, I was living in Macau, and it was 2010, and I lived abroad for almost 10 years already at the time. And I just wanted to return home, to try living in Singapore again, and to be closer to my aging parents, and just trying to go home again. And I had a lot of mixed feelings, and that was about going home. Like people from, I used Macau as like the set, like the location. People coming back to Macau from living abroad for a long time, and also people living in Macau like going back to where they're from. So it was about like, I call it returnees, but I might change the name. So I like acting and directing in equal amounts, I would say. Yeah. So I'm trying to train myself to write, to be a good writer as well, because I think that's the start of any independent, especially independent projects. So I want to train myself to write, and I edit my own stuff too. So,
I know.
Yeah, and I actually enjoy editing. I also enjoy editing for other people.
Oh really?
So yeah, but I would like to create my own stuff. I say first and foremost, and also continue to be an actor if I can.
Right.
I've lived in Tokyo 2.5 years now, so I didn't just arrive. So so my film got commercially released first in Japan, including Tokyo, and then subsequently went back to Singapore, and it got released just recently in Macau. So Japan is special for me in that sense, that my first film, the first commercial release was in Japan, and it's a bit of a surprise for me because the film wasn't in Japanese and it had no Japanese elements. I'm not Japanese myself, but I guess fate brings it to Japan to like have its first screening. In Japan, I also work on other people's projects, and Japan also gives me like the time and the freedom to, I guess, write my own stuff, which I think is very important. Now I'm thinking about coming to America, not sure yet. I have friends here who are filmmakers that we want to get together to make films, and so still exploring, seeing where my place could be here in LA or in New York. So that's why I'm here in LA visiting right now.